Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant. I'm your host, James Harris. This is episode 8 of the Comic Book Collector's Guide. This is one of the main series I do on this YouTube channel where I go into some of the basics when it comes to the hobby of comic book collecting and all the auxiliary stuff attached to it that hopefully can help you better your collecting hobby, and hopefully can add some things to your toolkit or give you some suggestions you might not know of and teach you a few things. Again, this is episode 8. I'll have a playlist down in the description box below, as well as I will put a link to the playlist right here as well, so you can see the previous episodes in the series. This episode, we're going to be talking about digital comic book reader programs for phone and tablets. So I'll be right back after the intro. Welcome back, and like I stated earlier, this episode is totally focused on digital comic book reading programs. It's a lot of different ways, especially digitally. I know a lot of people are still a big fan of physical comics, which is totally nothing wrong with that at all. For myself, I'm primarily digital, so I try to do a good blend on the channel here, talking about comics as well as in the physical sense, as well as the digital realm as well. So with that being said, it's a few digital comic book reader programs. I was going on a trip, a vacation. I wanted to take some comics with me. Me personally, most of the comics I purchased through COMICFLOW or Marvel.com. Or DC.com, the main publisher sites that funnel back through COMICFLOW, which ones I don't buy directly through COMICFLOW. But as being a comic book podcaster and doing like a YouTube channel, from time to time, different writers and things like that send me books via PDF files to preview for stuff that I'm going to review. So when I get those kind of things, I need an outside program to view them in. Sometimes they're in PDF form, which as long as you have a PDF reader, you can read them, but it's kind of cumbersome in as far as navigating around the book, reading it and flipping the pages and so forth. It can get it's very clunky and it's not user friendly. So I looked into different programs I can use via on my as far as I'm on my phone, if I'm on the go, or even on my tablet. So like if I'm sitting in bed or just walking around my tablet, I can read those books in a more comfortable format and piddling through a PDF file. Other file formats for comic books digitally is CBR as well as CBCG, and it's a whole ton of other ones. Those are the most popular formats that you're seeing that are kind of like industry standards right now. And I know if if you don't buy comics, you can download comics off the internet. I'm not judging. These readers come in handy for you to read those because most of the time they're in one of these formats. You need some kind of reader program to be able to enjoy them as well. So that was where I kind of came up with the topic. So I tried a handful here. The first one I want to talk about, and I'm going to base this on this premise here. I'm totally on iOS as far as iPad, iPhone. I have a Mac, so I based all of these on iOS. Some options are on multiple formats. You'll just have to look into that particular app to see which is available on your particular format if you're on Android. But I will put the links down in the description box below to all the programs that I'm talking about in this episode. So if you are interested, definitely you can check it out and give them a download. The first one I want to talk about is iComics, which I'll have the name down here at the bottom. You should be seeing it displayed out at the bottom. It is ICOMIX. This is a free program that primarily uses file format CBR and CBC, which I said are kind of the industry standards. Again, it's a free option. It's not super polished, but if you just need something quick and dirty and you want to, read, comics on the go, this is something that you can look into. As far as file transfer, because it's a big thing with all these programs, is that you need a way to get the comics from your computer or PC or Mac or whatever system you're using to your device of choice, which is either your phone or your tablet. It's a lot of different options. Now, since we have a lot of cloud storage things, most of these programs that I'm going to be talking about here link into either like Dropbox or even iCloud specifically to transfer. Some have like a web server that you have like a web interface that you can upload and it syncs it to the application. It depends, and the cost may vary depending on the transfer options. Now with iComics, the good thing is for it to be free, though it's not as polished as some of the other ones, you have transfer via Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, and Pogo Plug. So you have multiple options on how to transfer your books over so it will sync on the phone or on your tablet, which is a good thing because this is a totally free app. So it's low risk, low reward. The next program I want to talk about is iComics. This one is ICOMICS. Yes. Now this program is $199. I'm not going to say it's way more polished, but it's a little bit more put together. You have more organizational structure as far as within the program, how you organize the books once you get it in the program. Again, it's $199, so $2. File formats, you have zip, CBR, CBZ, RAR, EPUB, and PDF. So they have a wide assortment of the different formats, and depending, like I said, where you get your books from, even when you buy certain books, and I've talked about this before, even when you buy certain books on Comixology, certain independent publishers that you buy through Comixology have a backup file that you normally can do, I think, CBZ or PDF. So that's one file format. Like if you buy through Image, it's a similar thing. If you buy directly through image.com, they give you a PDF copy, or a CBZ, they give you the option. So having a program like this that has all the different options, and if you download different things online, some bundles might be in RAR, some might be in EPUB, you just don't know. So this program kind of covers all your bases for just $2. File sharing options as well. You have the traditional old school, plug up your device and go through iTunes sharing. And they also have other cloud apps as well, like iCloud, Dropbox, that sort, to sync your comics up. So it's pretty robust for $2. It's not a bad option if you're willing to invest that much in a comic reader. The next one on my list that I tried was Chunky. This one is also for free. The file formats it covers is CBR, CBZ, and PDF. Again, the three kind of staples in this whole realm of these digital comic readers that you want to find. You have Wi-Fi transfer. You can use cloud services such as Dropbox, Google Drive, and you can also transfer straight into the app. And they have a good file structure that lets you organize your comic collection once you get the comics in the app, which is important because not all these apps are that have that kind of structure in there that you can rearrange and make specific lists and things of that nature that you want to have your comics organized so you can get to them in a easy fashion. So this allows you to, that's one advantage of Chunky. The next program I'd like to talk about is COMICFLOW. This is also another free program, which is also a great thing. With COMICFLOW, you will be able to use file format CBR, CBZ, and PDF. So again, the top three main formats that we've talked about with all these programs are present with COMICFLOW. Now, the difference between COMICFLOW, even though it's initially free, it does have some in-app purchases. You can do Wi-Fi transfer, but it's only limited to 50 transfers for free. Once you exceed the 50 transfers, it's an in-app purchase for $4.99, which ends up making this a $5 program, which is way more expensive than what we have with iComics, which was the only other one as of yet on the list. We have one more after this that cost any money. So that's something that you want to consider when you look at COMICFLOW, is that you're going to be limited. So you might as well say it's not necessarily free, because I would imagine if you're using this as your main comic book reader on this format, you're going to exceed 50 downloads at some point. And to keep using the program effectively, you're going to have to pony up the $5 at some point if you get it at the beginning or the end. So it's kind of misleading when it states that it's free, because you have this in-app purchase or upgrade that you're going to have to contend with at some point. So that is slightly a drawback with this program when you look at it. So it's a pretty decent interface, all those things considered. That's one major drawback when you're looking at ComicFlow as an option with some of these that I'm breaking down for you in this episode. Now, last but not least, we have ZEAL. Now, I've used ZEAL for quite a while. This program has been around for quite a few years. I've used ZEAL on iPad. I've used it on desktop. They had a desktop version. I don't know. It's been a while since it's last updated. ZEAL runs $4.99. But out of all the ones that I tried and I've had dealings with on all the programs on this list in this episode, I've had the most experience with it. It is probably the most well-rounded, polished program of the lot. I would probably recommend this one and maybe iComics, ICOMICS, probably as the kind of forerunner as far as the polish and the overall robustness of program and options and features. Those are probably the top two. ZEAL gives you a very nice interface. It's very user friendly. You can set up folders and like little long boxes within the program, so you can really get granular as far as organizing your comics and collections and sort by comic book type. So like if you have 50 issues of Batman, you can have those all in one long box in order. So it gives you a ton of customization that the other programs won't offer in this detail, plus that nice user interface and customization options. You can do a dark mode within the program and things like that. So it's well worth the $5. Like I said, I've had this program for a long time. It's very robust, as well as far as syncing your comics. You have Wi-Fi through web browsing. You have all the cloud services there. It's like Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud Drive. You can also import via AirDrop, and you can also use iTunes, the old iTunes transfer method, bringing comics over, copying them over from your computer. So you have tons of options. And like I said, it's the most robust of all of the different programs we're talking about here, but it's $5. But I feel like if you're going to spend any money on a program like this, this is the one to buy, because it's just the most full featured, and that's what I feel like it's well worth the money. And like I said, I've used this program on and off for years and never had a problem with it and like it. But I did try some of the other ones just to see what else was out there, and it still kind of came back to, like I said, it would probably be, I would have to recommend either iComics with the S at the end or ZEAL. The other ones are good if you're just looking for a free option. You're not willing to invest any money in it. But if you are, and this is something like you have tons of comics in these formats, you want a good reader for your phone and or your iPad, this is the way to go with these programs. So I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm still gauging, because this is still relatively early on. I've been doing videos here on the channel for just about a year now. This is only the 8th episode of the Comic Book Collector's Guide. Let me know down below what topics you want me to cover. Like, this is a resource for you guys. I'm trying to come up with as many varied topics as possible to hit on different things that will be helpful to you guys as an ongoing resource that you can reference. Or if you're not interested in one thing, like if digital comics aren't your thing and you have a friend that is, that you share this out with them. This is all about community and sharing out. I'm trying to make this as helpful and as useful as possible. So definitely, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Also, click the bell notification down at the bottom so you'll be alerted when I drop new episodes on the channel. Also, check the links below. I have links to all the programs that I talked about, so you can click and check them out. So they're pretty easy to find. And I'll have a link to the playlist for the other episodes in this series on the Comic Book Collector's Guide. Again, I'm your host, James Harris. This is the Comic Book Savant channel, and I will see you next time. You guys take care and happy hunting.